It happens again. Your eyes open. The room is dark. The house is silent. And before you even look at the clock, you already know what time it is. 3 a.m. Not 2, not 4, 3. And here is what makes this so unsettling. It is not a noise that woke you. It is not pain. It is not even a full bladder. You simply snapped awake, like someone reached inside your brain and flipped a switch. Your heart might be beating a little harder than it should. There might be a strange warmth spreading across your chest. Or maybe it is that wave of anxious energy that floods your body for absolutely no reason, leaving you staring at the ceiling, wide awake, wondering what just happened. If that sounds familiar, I need you to pay very close attention to the next 18 minutes, because what I am about to share with you goes far beyond the recycled advice you have already heard. Drink chamomile tea, put your phone away, practice deep breathing. That is not what this video is about. My name is Dr. Michael Carter, and after years of working with adults over 60 on sleep-related health concerns, I can tell you with confidence that waking up at 3 a.m. is not random. Your body does not do random. Every time you snap awake at that hour, something specific is happening inside you. A signal is being sent. And today I am going to walk you through 7 real reasons your body keeps pulling you out of sleep at that exact hour, ranked from commonly overlooked all the way to the one cause that genuinely shocked me when I first came across the research. It involves something invisible happening inside your brain every single night, something that almost never comes up in a standard doctor's visit. And once you hear it, I believe it will change how you think about sleep permanently. Before we dive in, tell me something. Where are you watching from right now? And when you wake up at 3 a.m., what does it feel like for you? A sudden jolt? A racing heart? A wave of heat? Drop your city and your experience in the comments below. I read every single one, and your answer might help someone else watching realize they are not alone in this. Now, let us get into the countdown. Reason number 7. And this one catches people completely off guard because it has nothing to do with diabetes. It has to do with what you ate for dinner and what your liver does with it while you sleep. Here's what happens. When you eat a meal heavy in refined carbohydrates in the evening, bread, pasta, rice, a sweet dessert, your blood sugar rises. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin to bring it back down. In a younger body, this process is smooth and well calibrated. But after 60, insulin sensitivity declines. The system overcompensates. Your blood sugar does not just come down, it crashes. And that crash often lands right around 2:30 to 3:30 in the morning. When your blood sugar drops below a certain threshold during sleep, your brain treats it as an emergency. It triggers your adrenal glands to release cortisol and adrenaline, 2 stress hormones designed to wake you up and mobilize stored glucose immediately. That is the jolt. That is the racing heart. That is the wave of heat and anxiety that floods your chest at 3 a.m. for seemingly no reason at all. Your body just pulled the fire alarm because your brain was running out of fuel. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism confirmed that nocturnal hypoglycemic episodes in older adults frequently go completely unrecognized. The person wakes up, feels anxious or restless, attributes it to stress or aging, and never connects it to the bowl of pasta or slice of cake they had 6 hours earlier. The fix is remarkably straightforward. Shift your evening meal away from heavy carbohydrates. Instead, build your last meal of the day around protein, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables. A piece of grilled fish with roasted vegetables and a small portion of avocado gives your liver a slow, steady fuel source that sustains blood sugar through the night without that dangerous mid-sleep crash. Reason number 6. And if reason 7 was about what your body is missing in terms of fuel, this one is about what your body is missing in terms of chemistry. A single mineral that your brain desperately needs to stay asleep through the night. And most people over 60 do not have enough of it. I am talking about magnesium. Magnesium is involved in over 300 biochemical reactions in your body. But when it comes to sleep, its role is very specific. It activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch responsible for calming you down, slowing your heart rate, and keeping your brain in deep, restorative sleep. Without adequate magnesium, your nervous system stays on a hair trigger all night long. Every small disturbance, a subtle sound, a slight temperature shift, a passing dream, becomes enough to jolt you fully awake. Here is why this is specifically a senior problem. As we age, three things happen simultaneously. First, the gut absorbs less magnesium from food. Second, the kidneys excrete more of it. And third, many of the most commonly prescribed medications in adults over 60, including diuretics, proton pump inhibitors, and certain blood pressure drugs, actively deplete magnesium stores over time. Research published in the journal Nutrients found that nearly half of older adults in Western countries consume below the recommended daily magnesium intake. And many who fall within technically normal blood levels are still functionally deficient at the cellular level because standard blood tests measure serum magnesium, not what is actually inside your cells where the work happens. The practical steps here matter. Dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, almonds, and black beans are all excellent food sources. But if your doctor confirms a deficiency, magnesium glycinate taken in the evening is one of the most gentle and well-absorbed forms available. It does not cause the digestive issues that other forms often do. Ask your doctor specifically about this, because restoring this one mineral has resolved years of unexplained 3 a.m. waking in more people than most physicians would expect. Reason number 5, and this is where I need you to set aside everything you think you know about sleep apnea, because what I am about to describe is not the loud, dramatic version most people picture. This is something far quieter, far more common after 60, and almost invisible to the person it is happening to. Most people associate sleep apnea with heavy snoring, gasping for air, and a partner shaking them awake in the middle of the night. But there is a form of this condition that produces none of those obvious signals. Your airway does not fully collapse. You do not gasp. You do not snore loudly. Instead, your breathing becomes shallow enough, just slightly restricted enough, that your blood oxygen levels dip below the threshold your brain considers safe. And when that happens at 3 a.m., during your lightest sleep stage, your brain does exactly what it is designed to do. It wakes you up to breathe. You open your eyes, you feel alert, maybe slightly anxious. Your heart might be beating faster than normal, but you have no memory of struggling to breathe. No awareness that your oxygen saturation just dropped to 88% for the third time tonight. You blame stress, you blame age, and the real cause stays hidden. Research from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine estimates that a significant percentage of adults over 60 have some degree of undiagnosed sleep-disordered breathing. The risk increases with age because the muscles that hold the airway open lose tone gradually, the same way every other muscle in the body does. I want to tell you about a patient of mine, a 72-year-old retired pharmacist named Gerald. Sharp mind, active lifestyle, no history of snoring according to his wife. But he had been waking at 3 a.m. almost every single night for over a year. He tried adjusting his diet, his bedroom temperature, his evening routine. Nothing worked. When I suggested an overnight pulse oximetry test, a small device that clips onto your finger and records your oxygen levels throughout the night, Gerald was skeptical. The results surprised everyone. His oxygen was dipping below 90% multiple times between 2 and 4 a.m. A follow-up sleep study confirmed mild obstructive sleep apnea that had been completely silent. Within weeks of beginning treatment, Gerald slept through the night for the first time in 14 months. If you have been waking at 3 a.m. consistently and nothing else has explained it, ask your doctor about an overnight pulse oximetry screening. It is simple, inexpensive, and it can reveal a cause that no amount of chamomile tea or meditation will ever fix. Reason number 4, and this one requires me to be very direct with you because it is incredibly common, surprisingly fixable, and almost never discussed. If you are over 60, there is a good chance you take more than one medication daily, and every single one of those medications was prescribed for a legitimate reason. I am not questioning that. What I am questioning is the timing. Because when you take a medication relative to your sleep cycle, can have a profound and completely unintended effect on whether you wake up at 3 a.m. Let me walk you through a few specific examples. Certain beta blockers, commonly prescribed for blood pressure and heart conditions, are known to suppress melatonin production. When taken in the evening, they can directly interfere with your brain's ability to maintain deep sleep in the early morning hours. Some SSRIs prescribed for depression or anxiety reach their peak metabolic activity hours after you take them. A morning dose can create a subtle stimulating effect that lingers into the early hours of the next day. Diuretics taken in the afternoon or evening do exactly what you would expect. They increase your need to urinate at precisely the hour your body should be in its most restorative phase. And certain blood pressure medications can cause your pressure to dip too low around 3 a.m., triggering a compensatory adrenaline surge. Your body interprets the drop as danger and wakes you up to correct it. Here is what I want you to do this week. Write down every medication you take and the exact time you take it. Then bring that list to your doctor or pharmacist and ask one specific question. Could the timing of any of these be contributing to my early morning waking? Not whether the medication is right for you, just when you take it. In many cases, shifting a single dose by a few hours changes everything. No new prescriptions needed, just a conversation that nobody thought to have. If you are still here with me and finding this helpful, take a moment to type 4 in the comments. It lets me know you are watching and getting value from this. Reason number 3, and this one explains something that millions of seniors experience, but almost none of them can put into words. That feeling of snapping awake at 3 a.m. with your heart pounding, a strange tightness in your chest, and a wave of anxiety that seems to come from absolutely nowhere. No nightmare, no noise, just raw, unexplained dread flooding your body in a dark, silent room. Here is what is actually happening. Your adrenal glands, the 2 small organs that sit on top of your kidneys, are responsible for producing cortisol. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone, and it follows a very precise 24-hour rhythm. In a healthy system, cortisol drops to its lowest level around midnight, stays low through the early morning hours, and then begins rising around 5 to 6 a.m. to prepare your body for waking. That gradual rise is called the cortisol awakening response. It is your body's natural alarm clock. But after 60, especially in people who have carried years of chronic stress, poor sleep, or prolonged anxiety, the system controlling this rhythm begins to lose its calibration. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, the communication loop between your brain and your adrenal glands, starts misfiring. Instead of cortisol rising smoothly at 5 a.m., it surges unpredictably at 2:30 or 3 in the morning. A microdose of stress hormone floods your bloodstream hours too early. Your heart rate jumps, your body temperature spikes, your brain shifts into alert mode instantly, and you are wide awake with no obvious reason and no ability to fall back asleep. Research published in Psychoneuroendocrinology has confirmed that older adults with disrupted cortisol rhythms show significantly more nighttime awakenings and spend less time in deep restorative sleep compared to those with stable patterns. The most effective intervention is not a sleeping pill. It is resetting the rhythm itself. A consistent 10-minute morning practice of slow diaphragmatic breathing, 4 seconds in and 6 seconds out, performed at the same time every day, has been shown in clinical studies to measurably recalibrate cortisol timing over several weeks. Consistency matters far more than duration here. 5 minutes every morning outperforms an hour once a week by a significant margin. Reason number 2, and this one is hiding in plain sight inside your bedroom. To stay asleep through the night, your core body temperature needs to follow a precise curve. A slow decline after you fall asleep, reaching its lowest point around 3 to 4 a.m., then a gradual rise toward morning. In younger adults, this curve is smooth and predictable, but after 60, the system loses precision. The early morning temperature rise can shift 2 to 3 hours earlier than it should, and when your core temperature starts climbing at 2:30 a.m. instead of 5, your brain reads that as a wake-up signal. Your eyes open, you feel warm, alert, done sleeping. Many seniors make this worse without realizing it. Keeping the bedroom too warm, layering heavy blankets, wearing thick sleepwear, All of these fight against the natural cooling process your brain depends on. The research is consistent. A bedroom temperature between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit is optimal for sleep in older adults. If that sounds cold, try it for 1 week with a single warm blanket and light clothing. Choose breathable fabrics. Remove one layer rather than adding heat. This single adjustment has resolved years of unexplained early morning waking for more people than you would believe. And here it is, the reason I saved for last. The one that genuinely changed how I think about 3 a.m. waking entirely. While you sleep, your brain activates a waste clearance network called the glymphatic system. Cerebrospinal fluid pulses through the spaces between your brain cells, flushing out toxic metabolic byproducts, including the amyloid proteins linked to cognitive decline. This system operates almost exclusively during deep sleep, and it peaks in the early morning hours. Here is what nobody tells you. As this fluid moves through your brain, it creates subtle shifts in intracranial pressure. In younger adults, the system handles this seamlessly. But after 60, when brain tissue has less flexibility and fluid drainage pathways have narrowed, those pressure shifts can become just significant enough to trigger a wake signal. Your brain is literally cleaning itself, and the process is waking you up. A patient of mine, a 69-year-old woman named Patricia, had been waking at 3 a.m. for 3 years. Nothing worked. When she switched to sleeping on her left side with slight head elevation, her waking episodes dropped dramatically within 2 weeks. Research confirms that side sleeping significantly improves glymphatic drainage efficiency compared to back or stomach positions. Your brain is not malfunctioning. It is maintaining itself. The goal is helping it do that work without interrupting your sleep. Now let me pull everything together into something you can use starting tonight. First, adjust your evening meal. Move it at least 3 hours before bed. Build it around protein, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables. Drop the heavy carbohydrates that trigger those nocturnal blood sugar crashes. Second, ask your doctor about your magnesium levels. If supplementation is appropriate, magnesium glycinate taken in the evening is the gentlest and most effective form for sleep. Third, if nothing else has explained your 3 a.m. waking, request an overnight pulse oximetry test. Silent oxygen drops are far more common after 60 than most people realize. Fourth, write down every medication you take with its exact timing. Bring that list to your next appointment and ask whether shifting any dose could reduce early morning disruptions. Fifth, begin a daily 10-minute breathing practice every morning. 4 seconds in, 6 seconds out. Consistency recalibrates your cortisol rhythm over weeks. Sixth, drop your bedroom temperature to 65 to 68 degrees tonight. 1 warm blanket, light clothing. Give it 1 full week. And seventh, try sleeping on your left side with slight head elevation. Help your brain complete its overnight cleaning without waking you up to do it. So there you have it. 7 real reasons your body keeps waking you up at 3 a.m. Let me give you the full countdown one more time. Number 7, nocturnal blood sugar crashes triggered by evening carbohydrates. Number 6, magnesium depletion leaving your nervous system on a hair trigger all night. Number 5, silent oxygen drops from undiagnosed sleep-disordered breathing. Number 4, medication timing conflicts creating disruptions nobody thought to check. Number 3, a broken cortisol rhythm surging stress hormones hours too early. Number 2, core body temperature rising before your brain is ready. And number 1, your brain's own overnight cleaning system creating pressure shifts that pull you awake. None of these are random. None of these are just aging. And none of them are beyond your control. I want you to hear this clearly. You are not too old to sleep through the night again. You are not too old to wake up feeling rested, clear, and fully yourself. That is not a luxury reserved for younger people. That is something you have earned and something you deserve. If this video gave you even one answer you did not have before, please share it with someone who is also lying awake tonight, wondering why. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Take care of yourselves.